Before he became the Buddha, he was not a god, not a myth, and not yet a legend. He was a child born into a palace, surrounded by comfort, and protected from suffering. But one day, he would walk away from everything the world calls success. Across generations, people have told the story of a child born into royal comfort, yet destined to question the deepest truths of life. According to Buddhist tradition, this child would one day become the Buddha, the awakened one. A human being who discovered the path to end suffering, whose teachings would eventually change the world. But long before he was a spiritual teacher, he was a prince. More than 2,500 years ago, near the foothills of the Himalayas, there lay the Sakya kingdom of Kapilavastu. It was remembered as a prosperous realm, ruled by the noble king Siddhartha. It was a time of great celebration. The king had just returned victorious from a long campaign, and the entire city of Kapilavastu rejoiced in his honor. Yet, within the grand walls of the palace, a quiet sorrow lingered. Queen Maya, the king's beloved first wife, was a woman known throughout the kingdom for her pure heart and boundless compassion. But she carried a heavy burden. Though many years had passed since her marriage, Queen Maya had not been able to bear a child. The palace had gold, music, servants, and celebration. Yet one thing was missing, the cry of a child who would carry the royal line forward. Her younger sister, Pajapati, who was also married to the king, gently comforted her. Pajapati urged Queen Maya to cast aside her sorrows. She reminded her that the king was returning, and their duty was to welcome him with joy. When King Siddhartha arrived at the palace gates, the kingdom cheered his name. But in his private chambers, the king's heart was heavy. "The world may see me as a man who has everything," the king confessed to his closest advisors. "But without an heir, my house remains incomplete." However, the royal astrologers brought a glimmer of hope. According to the alignment of the stars, a rare and deeply auspicious celestial event was approaching. A sacred fertility ritual was organized, and the kingdom prayed that their deepest wish would finally be answered. For the kingdom, it was a prayer for the future. For the king and queen, it was a prayer from the deepest part of the heart. That very night, following the sacred ritual, Queen Maya fell into a deep and peaceful sleep. In the quiet of the night, she experienced a dream unlike any other. According to tradition, she dreamed that the four guardian deities of the world carried her to the Himalayas. There, a magnificent white elephant, pure and radiant with 6 tusks, descended from the heavens. The noble creature circled her 3 times, then gently entered her right side in a vision of purity and light. When the queen awoke, she felt an overwhelming sense of peace. The next morning, the royal astrologers were called to interpret this miraculous dream. When they heard the details, the court erupted in joy. The white elephant was an undeniable omen of supreme greatness. Queen Maya was finally with child. "The one who is born under these stars," the lead astrologer proclaimed, "will be a noble figure beyond comparison. If he remains in the palace, he will become a wheel-turning monarch, a great ruler of the world. But if he sees the suffering of life and chooses the path of renunciation, he will become a Buddha, an awakened teacher who shows the path beyond suffering." The king was thrilled, but also secretly fearful. He resolved that his son would be protected from every sign of suffering, so that he would grow into a great king, not a wandering sage. Months passed, and the time for the birth approached. Following the ancient customs of her people, Queen Maya requested to travel back to her maiden home, the kingdom of Devadaha, to give birth. Midway through their journey, the royal procession stopped to rest at a place of breathtaking natural beauty, the Lumbini Grove. The air was fragrant with blossoms, birdsong moved gently through the trees, and the shade of the grove felt cool and peaceful. Queen Maya stepped out of her carriage to walk among the flowers. As she reached up and gracefully held the branch of a blossoming sal tree, the moment of destiny arrived. According to sacred tradition, the birth was completely free of pain. The heavens rejoiced, and the earth itself seemed to tremble with joy. It is said that soft, warm rain fell from the clear sky to bathe the newborn child. A child of extraordinary destiny had entered the world. It is said that he took 7 steps, and with each step, a beautiful lotus flower bloomed beneath his feet. This was the birth of Prince Siddhartha. But the prophecy had already placed 2 paths before him, the path of worldly power, and the path of spiritual awakening. King Suddhodana would do everything in his power to keep his son inside the palace walls, far away from sorrow, sickness, aging, and death. But no palace, no matter how beautiful or carefully protected, could hide the truth of life forever.